Uh-oh. We may be live. It looks like the connection is low. Gosh, I haven't live streamed for a minute, like all of last week, because it was crazy, and most of the week before was in my paid programs and not here. So I'm hoping this is gonna work, because I like to live stream outside in my backyard as opposed to inside, because I just like the outside energy. Those of you who know, which are probably most of you, are book readers and book lovers, will know that whenever the title of this live stream is Those Who Believe in Magic. Did I put those who believe in magic or those who don't believe in magic? I don't even remember. But anyway, hold on. I'm going to share this possibly to my Be Magic group. Since we're talking about magic, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Oh, one second. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so more of my favorite people can see it. The quote there is the beginning of a quote from, and I always probably butcher his name, Roald Dahl, who wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda and so many of my favorite books. And he was obviously a wise man. I don't know. I've heard stories that maybe he wasn't the nicest, but you know, sometimes writer introvert people don't always come out super nice, even though probably they are, and they're just like more at home with their writing and being in that space. But I wanted to share this quote with you, and a little bit of why it's kind of on my mind. But the end part that we always see is those who don't believe in magic will never find it. But before it has and above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely of places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. And my belief is that that hidden place where the magic is, where we so often forget to look, is right inside of us, right? Like, we all have a spirit, a soul, something to us that is non-physical, and I think we can all feel that. But sometimes we don't take the time to connect to that, and we look outside, right? We buy books, we take classes, and I write books and sell classes, but but all my books and my classes are to teach you just to connect with yourself. Because when you take that time to get quiet and go within, you will get the guidance that you need. You do not, like, if you want to lose weight or you want to change your body or your health, you don't need to get on Google and start Googling all the diets and the crazy stuff, because what you need to do is tune into yourself and tune into your intuition. My stomach's growling a little bit, sorry. One of my things that I usually do is intermittent fast, and I did learn about that online, but I didn't go looking for it per se. It just kind of came into my line of vision in several ways after I spent time like in deciding that I was going to find what made my body feel good and what made me feel healthy, and taking the time to meditate and get quiet and tune into that and ask myself, does this feel good to me? Because I didn't want to do something that felt hard or yucky. I mean, back in the day, I did all these crazy diets to try to lose weight or stay at a certain weight, and they didn't feel good to me or my body. And it was like I was telling my body it wasn't good enough, and you're gonna eat this stuff you don't like. And then I got to a point where in my self-love practice, I realized that the only way to have a healthy, happy body is to love it and treat it as if I love it, even if I don't love everything about it at this moment. That's that seeing the magic, having that belief before it appears, is tuning into yourself, tuning into your inner magic that you keep tucked away. And everybody will find, if you do that, you'll find out for yourself what is going to work for you. But seeking outside yourself is not, like, if you don't believe the answers in you, then it's really hard, because you're just grasping at, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this, instead of going, what feels good. That doesn't mean that you won't get outside information, but the really, really cool thing is when you tune into your own magic, and like, it just, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to go to a monastery and be silent for 10 days. You can just do a daily practice of a 10-minute meditation or some journaling or whatnot, just taking time daily. I mean, you brush your teeth daily, you take a shower daily, most people, you fix your hair, you put on clothes. You can take some time daily to tune in to your higher self, to that inner guidance. And when you do that, then you'll find that magic inside you. And even though you may need outside help to figure out, like, what's the best job for you, or to meet that person that you're going to have a relationship with, or to find the best eating plan that feels good to your body, when you tune into your inner magic, a crazy thing happens. It's called synchronicity. Have you heard that word? It's so crazy, because whenever I have a problem in my brain, I am like Aries rising, so it wants to just like rush out and go, I will find it, I will find the answer. But I know from practice that what actually helps me find the answer is getting quiet, closing my eyes, and tuning into that inner magic inside myself. And once I've done that, doesn't necessarily mean the answer is just going to pop, in my mind. Sometimes it does, or be handed to me on a silver platter. Sometimes it is, not necessarily a silver platter, but sometimes it comes it just pops into your mind. But a lot of times what happens is when you take that time to tune in, have a spiritual practice, then what ends up happening is you don't have to go and look so hard. Like, it's just someone's gonna tell you about something that you need to know, or you'll get an invitation to go somewhere and you get there and you meet that person. When you follow your inner guidance and intuition, life just gets so much easier. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have problems, but solutions seem to present themselves faster, and just is not as much work, because because you're believing in magic. Actually, that's what it is, because you're believing in your own inner magic. When you can stop and say, I trust my higher guidance, I trust my intuition to lead me to everything I need to know, and all I have to do is get up every morning, spend a little bit of time tuning into that, and then following my intuition as I go through my day, then it's just going to come to you. It's hard to explain if you haven't experienced it. I know that most of you guys have experienced it who are on my page. And sometimes we forget, and we start thinking that we have to micromanage the universe, and we lose contact with our higher self. But really, all we have to do is just take that quiet time and start shifting it again and making space for magic in our lives. I know so many people will say that they believe in magic, but then their actions will not be the actions of someone who believes in magic. Like, they might be someone who thinks, yeah, I know if I tune in and I learn how to intuitively eat, or I ask my higher self what's the best eating plan for me, and then they're like, no, I gotta lose 10 pounds by Saturday, and then they go and find some crazy diet online. Like, that is not trusting yourself, right? And the truth is, I've talked about this before, like, when you make a decision that you're going to go for a certain goal or a certain outcome, you're going to be tested to see if you're really going to stay the course. And living a magical life is a goal or an outcome. And it's easy to get scared and think, oh, it's not happening right now. I've had clients who, like, I told them to meditate and do, come up with a daily practice. And I've had some email me and go, I meditated today, and then I got upset and I cried and it just didn't work. And I'm like, that's not how meditation works, right? You don't do meditation to get an outcome. You do meditation to slow down and tune in and listen to yourself, listen to your inner guidance. And that's it. But we almost always get extra results, extra synchronicity, extra magic, extra stuff from doing meditation. Now, it's not necessarily going to happen if you sit down one time and meditate for 10 minutes that you're going to get up and your life is magically transformed. It's just like I said, like with showering, eating, you have to do it every day. You don't have to do meditation. Like if that's not your thing and that feels very overwhelming, one of my things it's always in the background, a journal. It does not have to sparkle and have sequins, but that's a bonus. I'm just kidding. I like it that way though. But I write in my journal every day. Do I write what happened that day? Not usually. Do I write all the things that are bugging me? That don't ever go in this journal. If I need to write out things that are bugging me, I write those on loose leaf paper, and then I usually burn it or rip it up because I don't want to keep that energy. This thing is alive with vibrational energy because what I write in it every day is what I want to create, what I want to see. One of the things I teach is prayer rain journaling, and if you're not familiar with that is writing out your life as if it were the way you want it to be. It's like writing out your day before it happens as if you're telling it to somebody else the way you wanted it to happen. So you write it in the present tense or possibly like the past tense if you're like pretending that you're writing a letter to your friend. Oh my gosh, this past week has been so amazing. This and this and this and this and this happened. So I will do a lot of that. Sometimes the only thing that I write in here that might be perceived as negative, but I don't think it's really negative, is sometimes I do work around releasing old beliefs. So I might like ask myself and write out, because sometimes when you're writing, things come through that you may not consciously know, and if you just let yourself free write. So sometimes I'll ask myself, like, what would I have to believe to be creating this situation in my life that I don't like? Say, like, if we're going with the weight story that I was talking about, what would I have to believe to not be able to release this weight? Or what would I have to believe to have this health issue? Or what would I have to believe to not have a relationship? And then I'll write it out. And then I look at that and I go, if those are the things that I believe, what would I rather believe? What would I choose to believe? What beliefs would give me the outcome? Because just like you have to believe in magic before you see it, you have to believe in what you want before you can create it. Because if you don't believe you can have it, it's really difficult to create it in your life. And I think I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, I think I was just saying, if meditation is not your thing, you can do this. You can do both. Don't overwhelm yourself, especially if you're new to a spiritual practice. But even just taking a mindful walk every day and just like really being present to where you're walking, the steps you're taking, getting quiet. I know myself, whenever I write a lot of the blog posts and stuff, I don't ever usually have to sit down and go, what do I want to write about today? Because I have a habit of writing a lot, but because also whenever I walk my dogs, ideas, I think a lot of time my brain is like, when I don't have something to write with, but I usually pull out my phone and put little notes enough to remind me to get. But when I'm in the shower, ideas come in. When I'm walking my dogs, anything like that, especially if I'm doing it really mindfully, then the ideas just seem to pop into my head. But also a lot of times when I'm meditating, because my general rule for the day is to get up and meditate and send Reiki until it feels like it's done. Reiki is a form of energy healing, but I do that and then I journal. And sometimes, a lot of times, when my meditation ends is when I get a download. Yeah, Janice, that is me too. I have to be outside every day. I don't care how cold or raining it is. It grounds me to yeah, if I'm not, I start getting really wonky. But and I got off on a tangent again, but that's good. It's a good tangent. Being outside is a great, actually just a form of a spiritual practice if you could be outside and just being aware of nature that's around you, and the fact that Mother Earth is a grounding energy for all of us. And a lot of times I like to go sit under trees and just like feel the energy of the tree. And I know a lot of people who connect with me online are like I am, and you're really empathic and you feel those energies. So if you are outside and you can do that even as a practice. One of the things that I find is fun is to sit and send energy or Reiki to either a tree or a plant, and do that for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then just say, and now I'm open to receiving energy back from this plant. And that can be really cool. And that can also give you some flashes of insight too, because the earth is so smart. I'm a big fan of plant magic and plant medicine for helping us tap into our higher selves. But if that's not your cup of tea, you just have to find out the way that you connect to your inner magic. But earth and nature, plants, water, some people really connect with water, and that I guess for me, I do a lot of my spiritual practice in the bathtub, which might be a little bit weird, but I feel very soothed by the water. So I sit in the water, and I have my journal, and I have my pendulum, and I have all that stuff, and I sit and I do tapping and clearing work in the bathtub. So that is a fun way to connect with the element of water while I'm doing work. And I feel like all of these things in nature are here to give us a gift, and they're all quite magical too. The thing with them is nature, I think nature knows it's magic. Humans, sometimes we forget that we're magic, and that we can create a lot of amazing things in our life when we tap into it. And as crazy as the world is, like sometimes I feel like people are like, well, you shouldn't focus on creating, parking spaces or more money because our life is crazy. But for me, I feel like now is the most important time, because there's so much conflict and craziness in the world. The more people believe in their own magic, the more we can shift our planet, and the more we can create a better world for us all. And so if you have to start with manifesting parking spaces to start feeling your magic, that's fine. That's a perfect way to start. I know for me, I started doing this work when I was really in earnest when I was 22, and I was going to a Unity church, and they taught us how to make treasure maps, and the minister there taught us how to vaporize clouds and how to manifest to always have a good parking spot. And like, you may not think that is important, but it shows you that you have a certain level of power and control in your life. And I remember one of the first books that I made was like one of those old photo albums where you peel back the plastic and you put the pictures in, which is really bad for our pictures, but I did it. I put magazine cutouts and made a book, and I looked through it every day and just kind of tried to feel the feelings of having those things for like 6 months. And then I ended up, I started dating the man who's now my husband, and I kind of like hid the book away, and I sort of forgot about it. And then a few years after we had gotten married, I found it in a box, and I realized every single thing in that book had happened. It all came true. And so it was really, really a powerful thing to me to realize that, just what we focus on, we create more of. And when we focus on magic in our life, we'll see more of it. And Roald Dahl, he was an awesome man. There was one other quote that I was really wanting to share if my computer didn't die. Oh, no, it didn't yet. Yes, another secret tip, a very, very important secret tip to bring more magic into your life. And this is another Roald Dahl quote, and it is, "A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest of men." So don't take life and magic or any of that too seriously, right? When you're having fun, when you're enjoying life, when you're being a little silly, as we love to do in my family, that's when the coolest stuff can happen. And when you're not sitting there worried and thinking about how can I create this, how can I find this, like your higher self has got it, the universe has got it, God has got it, whatever word you connect with that makes you tune in, it's got it. And if you knew in your heart that it was all taken care of and that you would be guided, how would you act? Would you act serious, or would you have fun and have a little bit of nonsense in your life? I think you would have fun, right? And of course, the other thing that you would have is gratitude, because you would know that it's coming. And one more, he's so good, he's so good. One more quote that I really, really like is, a person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose, a crooked mouth, a double chin, and stick out teeth. But if you have good thoughts, they will shine out of your face like sunbeams, and you will always be lovely. So, good thoughts, magical thoughts, and a little bit of nonsense. That is the stuff. And one more other thing that is the stuff is Reiki. So that is something that I mentioned, sending Reiki to trees. I do Reiki every day. It's just part of my life now. And it might seem mystical and crazy and like it's a magical thing, and I think it is. And part of the magic of Reiki is that so many people do it, and so many people have added to the energy. There are symbols in Reiki, and those symbols and those words that people use for healing have been used for healing by millions of people, are currently being used for healing by millions of people. So I think that's like where the super magic and power in Reiki is. Like, can you heal people without Reiki? Totally. And can you heal people without having any training at all, with just your highest intentions? Yes, you can. But I know I feel a difference with using the Reiki energy, and I think that's what it is that so many people have put their healing thoughts and intentions with those symbols. Not that they weren't probably powerful when they were downloaded, but I think the more that they've been used, the more the power has gone up. And so I'm just going to put a quick comment in here, possibly not that one, to let anybody know who is interested in learning Reiki that is something that I'm doing for the premium members, and we're going to have a live class coming up tomorrow afternoon. Of course, even if you didn't join before then, you would still get the Reiki classes are being added, 1 per month until in November. You can be a master level Reiki practitioner, and then you can teach Reiki to other people and attune other people to Reiki, because I think the more people on our planet that have it and have that mindset, whether or not they actually practice Reiki, there's going to be more magic in our lives, and who couldn't use a little more of that and a little more nonsense too, as Roald Dahl would say. So go out today and remember that you are magic, and you'll see it everywhere. So have a beautiful, magical day, and I'll talk to you next time.